Hello everyone, welcome to Hybrid Budgets. This is my July budget, and also I'm just doing things a little bit differently. So yeah, come budget with me for July. So starting off, we did the June close down. So basically all I've done is I've just transferred the, let me see if I can zoom in. I've just transferred all the end amounts to the start amounts, so I'll just quickly go through these. And also what I've done is I've transferred some of my pots that were just standard normal Monzo pots into saving pots, because these are ones that I'm doing savings challenges for now, and also they sort of won't be touched. They're going to be like my long-term sinking goals. So they're a bit all over the place this month, but I'll reorder them for next month. But I'll go through all that. So my first direct regular saver is at 7%. This is the one I use for my emergency fund, so this is the one that gets £50 a month transferred into it. Start to Save ISA is at £619. This is the one that is any extra over emergency fund payments go into this one. So it's slightly less on a percentage interest, but it means I can do up to like £200 a month in that one, I believe, whereas this one I've just set a direct debit at 50. Eating out is currently 123, so potentially, depending on what happens this month, I might take some of the money out of there to use for savings challenges, because I think that's quite a reasonable amount of money now, and especially as me and my partner sort of use our joint account when we do go and eat out. So really it's only for me, and yeah, I don't see myself needing that much, so I might use some of that money, sort of reallocate it. Clothes, hair, health and beauty has only got £11. Birthdays and gifts has 80. Holiday has 115. Christmas 120. And these are, like I mentioned, they're going to be part of the savings challenges going forward, and they're in a savings specific pot. Home improvement has 185. Hobbies. The only reason I haven't put this one, in a savings pot is because I have a virtual card linked to this one, and I dip into this one. I don't want to say regularly, but you know, things like paint, things like cork, things like silicone if I need it, just like, you know, anything at B&Q basically. That card sort of links to that one. But I do have a savings goal for this one. To get to for various things that need doing around the house, and like services such as like boiler service, etc. Hobbies and interest is got £40 at the minute. Mum and dad, so again this is a debt I owe to them, so I owe them £2,000. I'm putting in the savings pot anything, you know, I could afford towards my mum and dad, and I've got a challenge for them, so they're at 155. Water bill is at 87, although this will be coming out this month because it's due. General annual subscriptions, started it a few, like 2 months ago. I've withdrawn from it, so I've put £40 into hobbies and interests, as Google Drive costed 80. So basically what happened was that came out of my normal standard Nationwide account, the general annual subscription. So I think I only had about £40 in there, but rather than transferring it into my current account, which I just paid the Google Drive for, I just put it into hobbies and interest because that was at 0. So I just essentially a reallocation of that one. So that's starting at 0 again. IC subscription, that's at 21. Virgin Atlantic, it's a new card, a new pot I've created. So this is basically saving up for my annual subscription to my Virgin Atlantic card. Monzo Flex is at 0, and that hopefully will remain at 0. So that's fully paid off. So that's my credit card with Monzo, and it allows you to split payments over 3 months, 0% interest, but I did have a balance on there, so that's all paid off now. Penny savings is currently at £12.43, so this is one in my Monzo pot. So this penny savings is very much, you can see here that all these values are 0, so anytime I spend from my virtual card, I do like my own round down basically. Round 'em Up Cowboy is the roundups we have from our shared card, so this is our joint sort of penny savings roundup challenge. And then what I've also added is my 52-week savings challenge. So yeah, that's basically where we started off at. Then the calendar, so this is the plan for the month. So what I've done in black is all my like direct debits coming out. So you can see On Tuesday I've got quite a few that just come out straight away. Orange, I've got all my sort of variable expenses throughout the week, mainly stuff like parking and fuel, just to give myself an idea of how many fuel top-ups we might need. So for instance, at the beginning of this month, we're going to Llanbedr in Wales. It's like a 3.5 hour journey. So I'm saying we'll probably need a fuel top-up before we go, fuel top-up before we come back. That'll probably last me then, obviously, for that whole week while I'm working. And then I'll need a fuel top-up because we're going to London. Then that should last us, and then a fuel top-up before we go to my friend's. She lives in Nuneaton. Yeah, so it's just trying to work out roughly how much we're going to spend. So for all those who don't know, I put my parking and fuel on a credit card, which is my Virgin Atlantic card. I budget it in the month, and basically I carry over that amount for the next month. This month might be ever so slightly different, but I'll explain that in a minute. So because of the way my expenses work, I get my fuel and parking. Well, I definitely get all my parking paid back. I get some of my fuel depending on obviously how much I travel to work. So I go into the office 3 days a week. So I put it on a credit card because then it takes about a month, you know, for the payroll cycle to go through. So at least then it's comes off a month. I hope that makes sense. Also what I've clocked this week, which I don't know why I didn't realise it last month, is my credit card does from the 6th to the 6th. So these ones here will actually come out of last month's, which is going to get billed this month's credit card. Hope that makes sense. So yeah, it's just myself to keep an eye on it. So yeah, that's the monthly calendar overview. So I'm going to move on to my budget now. Sorry, I've had to film this separately because I paused the video. When I paused it, it just didn't obviously record. So I'm now on a completely separate day trying to record this. Anyway, daft. So this is the budget for July, and this is the layout I use. So what I usually do is have my income coming in, all my fixed expenses, then I go on to my variables, sinking funds, annual expenses and credit card expenses, and then final budget. So the credit card expenses, these are ones that are going to be transferred over to next week. So if I zoom in initially, hopefully you can see that fine. So starting off, so my salary and any expenses came to £2,300 this month. I mentioned it before, this is slightly less than I expected just because my mobility payment got paid last month, but it covered a full month and I didn't need it for the full month, so they've deducted it off this pay slip. Carryover from Nationwide, I had £460 budgeted from last month to carry over to this month, and that's to pay off the Virgin Atlantic credit card. Sinking fund, so I'm going to take out £87 from the water bill sinking fund. I'm going to take out £45 from gifts, and we're going to take out £20 from eating out. Water bill is due this month, so that's why I'm taking that one out. Gifts, I've got a payment on my Halifax card which is linked to the Craft Gin Club, so that's £45 for that. So that's a subscription I have for my mum, so every 4 months she gets a gin box. So basically her birthday's on Christmas, so it's like a nice big gift that goes around all year. And eating out, I'm taking £20 because of the hen do last month, and we took some Ubers and stuff, so I'm just taking out my eating out budget. So that'll give me £152, and then other, my partner's going to transfer over 20, so that in total is £2,932. So my bills and utilities are all down here. So I've got mortgage, life insurance, Nationwide account fee, e-mobile, house insurance, council tax and Monzo account fee. These are all as expected. So my bill should be £12. That last month it was £3 because it was the start of the new contract, whereas this one it should be £12. I don't think there's any big shocks there. My mortgage has gone down a bit because I've fixed, but I'm paying, you know, the minimum on my mortgage basically. Microsoft and Audible. So Microsoft standard £2, Audible standard £10. Then moving down to savings, so I've got Vanguard, which is my investment, so that's £50, and I've got my emergency fund, which is £50. So they're just trickling on through. Miscellaneous, I've got Great Ormond Street Hospital, which is £10, and the Labour Party, which is £8, and I actually do know when that's coming out now. That is coming out on the 21st. Then finally is my minimum payments on my debt. So MBNA comes out on the 20th, and that's getting, I'm guessing this one, I'm thinking it's 75. It was £73 last month. I imagine it'll be less than that, but So if I just budget 75, it gives me a bit of a buffer. Virgin Pink is fixed at 65. Virgin Blue, which is my new card, because I've done a balance transfer from my Tesco one to my Virgin Blue. I'm not sure. The minimum payment on Tesco was £50, but because I'm not sure, I'm just putting 60 in. I don't really know when it comes out either, so I need to double check when that one gets paid. And Tesco 2, again, it's fixed at 30. So in total, those expenses come to £1,357, which leaves a remaining £1,575. So moving on, Virgin Atlantic, although I only budgeted 460 for it last month, I think it's going to be ever so slightly higher, partly because an Amazon payment came out on it. My sister shares my Amazon account, and I didn't realise we hadn't changed it over to her payment, so I've cancelled it now, but I think it still charged me another tenner. And also for fuel and stuff, I think it's going to be slightly more, so I'm budgeting 470 rather than the 460 I had as my carryover. Monzo Flex is at 0, whoop! So that's not got any amount on it, and obviously I don't need to pay any amounts, that's fab. Halifax 65, so that's that 45 from gifts, and the £20 from eating out is covering that £65. My food and joint account with my partner, I'm transferring £300 into it this month. We originally did 250, but because we use it for eating out as well. I say eating out as if we go to like restaurants, usually it's McDonald's, so after we go to the gym on a Wednesday we have a bit of a cheat day, and I say cheat day, it was still pretty good. We had like the grilled chicken wrap and a smoothie, but anyway, we're transferring 300 each into that joint account. Eating out isn't getting any. It's currently, I think, set at like £123. It doesn't need any more in. I usually use my eating out to top up my food and joint account. Also, I've got a savings challenge, so if that goes over, I can take it out of my eating out as well. So yeah, that's got a reasonably good chunk in it, so there's no need to add anything else this month. Hair, health, beauty and clothes, I'm putting £60 in, so usually I budget at least £40 a month for the PT. And then also I need to get some, just bits, like clothes bits, and I've run out of like concealer, so not major clothes. I got some snag order last month. But yeah, I do need I basically need a new bra. So we'll see. I don't wear anything too fancy, but when the wires start sticking out. Anyway, too much information. Hobbies and entertainment 20. I've not got anything too much planned, but it's always useful, and I just want to build that pot up ever so slightly. So that all comes to £915. So taking that away from the 1,575 leaves 660. Then what I usually do is I do my annual expenses next, just when I'm doing the actual calculations of this. I'll go through this in order, but because they're fixed in terms of they'll come out every month, I usually do those next to work out what I've got left, and then I can separate into my sinking funds. But I'll just go through these now. So debt extra overpayment, because it's a smaller month for me this month, I'm only putting £100 in, but then what I'm going to do is if any of these challenges have anything left over, that's going to go to the extra overpayment as well. So I'm budgeting £100 anyway, so that can go over. So currently that will be nationwide to MB&A. I'm not putting a date on it yet because I'll probably do it at the end of the month, but I've allocated that £100 for debt. Holiday, so I'm doing some savings challenges, which I'm so excited about, because I see them all online, and they look really fun, and I always keep wanting to do it, and I didn't really, because I obviously do all my stuff on bank pots. I wasn't too sure how I could do it, but I've come up with a plan. I've come up with a solution. It might seem daft, and you might all be like, you're a psycho. I probably am, but it's the way my brain works. Anyway, so my holiday fund is, I'm going to budget £10. I'm doing the Save the Year challenge, which is like these little credit cards. For all the challenges I do, I will post a link of where you can get them. I've just made them myself, like my own version, just for cost saving benefit. And I've got my own laminator, and I've got laminating pouches, so it took me age to do them. But I did them, but I'll link where you can get these. So Save the Year, I'm only doing it I'll explain it when I do the challenge, but I'm only doing like the number of like letters in the month, so they won't actually accrue to more than £10. So I'm budgeting 10. like I say, anything extra over can go towards debt. Christmas, I'm going to budget £35. I've got a savings challenge for this one. It's not so much just challenge as like a nice little book. That's going to get £35. Gifts isn't going to get anything. That's got a reasonable amount in, although that £45 is coming out of it. But the pot itself, I can't remember how much is in it, but it's got stuff, and I've got no gifts for this month. Mum and Dad, so they're going to get, they're budgeted £25 for their challenge, which is Knockout 9. So yeah, that one, I'm budgeting that again. If it's less than that, it's can go towards extra over debt. If it's slightly more than that, I'll use the eating out fund to fund that one. Home improvement is getting split splat splot challenge. So that challenge can either be £5 or £10. So again, I'm budgeting the higher amount, which is £10. 52-week challenge, I'm budgeting £120. This goes to a variety of different sinking funds. It goes to debt extra overpayment, holiday, Christmas. It's a few of them, but what I'm doing is keeping all the money together in the challenge, and then probably at the end of the year maybe quarterly I'm going to empty out the envelopes. But yeah, I'm budgeting £120 to use towards that challenge, which annoyingly it doesn't all fit. I probably should have taken out gifts. Anyway, that comes to £300, which leaves £360 left over. Apologies, I feel like I'm talking really fast. I shall try and slow down. Water bill, so this is due this month. So what I've budgeted here is £21 I usually put in the water bill, and then obviously the £87 that I've saved for the past 6 months, so that will actually cost me £108. I don't know if this is what the water bill will come to. We'll see, but at least I've got that amount budgeted. Annual expenses general, again that's getting for just 15. IC subscription, that's going to get £21 into that pot, and Virgin Atlantic is going to get £14 into that pot, which that together comes to £158, which leaves £202 left over. So this month is slightly different. Like I say, I'm probably keeping going on about, I've got less this month. It's because they took the mobility payment off me as like a lump, and I didn't expect it, so I was a bit like, oh gosh. So although my fuel and parking is probably going to come to £360, this is all paid on my Virgin Atlantic credit card, which actually then gets billed next month. So this bill up here is last month's bill. I mean, I'm saying this as if people don't know how credit cards work, but you'll be surprised how much my brain doesn't understand how credit cards work, and hence why I've got myself into this situation. So fuel and parking, I'm budgeting that they're going to be 180 each. So parking costs me about £15 a day. Fuel, again, I think I'm be doing 3 or 4 top-ups. I've got a hybrid car, so they're not too expensive top-ups. They're not like, you know, £70-80 a tank, but still need to budget it. So I do appreciate I'm £160 out, if that makes sense, for next month. But I thought if I carry over the 200 or 202 as it's going to be, it helps pay it off for next month. And then next month my salary will be higher because the mobility payment won't have come out. And also I'm due some expenses, so they will, ironically, expenses for fuel and parking, so they will cover that. So I'm not too concerned on that front, really. So yeah, so that's the budget. I think what I'm going to do now is, you know what, I'm going to explain what I'm doing with my savings challenges, but I'm going to do a separate video for savings challenges because I'm not sure if people, you know, watch saving challenges or budget separately. Like, I quite like watching a budget one separately to like a savings challenge one. But yeah, anyway. So what I've done here, let me just bring this one in. These are all the items I need to transfer over to my Monzo. So that will be things, so in this budget here, if I explain myself a little bit, that would be useful. So the Monzo account fee, which is £5, has to go into my Monzo account. And all these other items, which I've got NW to Monzo, are obviously going from my Nationwide, which is my current account, which I get my salary paid into. I'm going to have to put a full, you know, like top them all up, transfer all that over to my Monzo account, and that's where I have all my pots. I like to keep them separate. Partly, one, I've banked with Nationwide for ages, so that's why Nationwide's my current account. and 2, Monzo has the pot feature, which I really enjoy and really like. So, and then it's sort of similar into how you would cash stuff, which leads me to here. You can't even see on camera, but I'm literally doing like a little jig with my hips. So what I've done is I've totted it all up. So I've got £5 for the account fee, £300 for the joint account, £60 for health, hair and beauty, £20 for hobbies and interests. Basically everything we've just gone through here. But what I have done is asterisked all the ones which are sinking funds. So with these sinking funds ones, these are now essentially going to get cash stuffed. I'm doing the little rabbit ears because I obviously, there's no point me taking out the cash to then put the cash back in the pot. So what I'm using is placeholders. She brings in the placeholders. So currently these look like a massive wad of money. They're not, they are fake money. They have a specimen written all over them, and they are, I think, 10% larger than usual money, and they don't have a back as well. So these I'm literally just using as placeholders. I bought these to teach my niece about money. So we do little things where like I give her a salary and then she like will pay me for stuff. Really cute. Yeah, so I got these online like ages ago, and I was like, well, I'll put these to good use then. So yeah, basically what I'm going to do is only do the ones that are sinking funds, i.e. I'm not going to touch. So these are all the ones that if you were cash stuffing in the normal way, are the like annuals, the long term, where you might have quite a lot more in that, like in your cash envelope, and you'd therefore use a placeholder. Like I see people who, if they get anything more than 50, they take that money out, put it back to the bank and put a £50 placeholder in. So it's very much doing the same. I'm banking it in the Monzo, but I'm using the cash as a placeholder. Perfect. So that's all ready to put in these savings challenges. And then what I've also done is, you probably can't see, it's just off camera here, all these pots that had existing money in. So let me look back to my account breakdown. And these are basically the pots that, as I went through, that have got I've now transferred in Monzo to a savings fund, so anything with 4.6%. So these are ones that we're not going to touch. So obviously Christmas we're going to touch in, come December time. Holiday we're not going to touch probably now till next year. Mum and Dad we're not touching, and all the other ones. Penny savings is obviously slightly separate, but for the 52-week challenge we're not touching. So these are all the ones I'm essentially going to cash stuff. So I'll leave at that for this video. If you do want to see the video of the cash stuffing, that'll be a separate one, and I'll go through the savings challenges and I'll go through the binder I made. I had to make this one because I want to say it's A5. It's half A4. I think that's how it works. I should know this. But yeah, I had to go the bigger just because the size of the fake notes are ridiculous. The placeholders. So this is the 50, for instance, and I'm not sure if you can gain a size of perspective. I'd put my face under there, but it's just massive. So I'm using the slightly bigger envelopes as a result of that, because the smaller ones, they just rip it. And similar with my Christmas savings, I've had to make them with ever so slightly bigger envelopes. But anyway, I will leave that to that. I'll do a separate video on this one, so please feel free to watch. I'll probably upload it straight away anyway. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed that video. Let me know if you've got any comments, queries, if I've made any mistakes, because I do. And yeah, if anything doesn't make sense, or you're querying why I do stuff the way I do, let me know. But I hope you all have a lovely month and happy budgeting.